Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast. We've got a special guest today by the name of George Bennett. You would have seen him on the show before. It's good to have him back. He had a little bit of a breather, but he's come in hot, and it's been a good conversation, actually, so you'll enjoy it. We try to touch on the Vuelta. We do touch on the Vuelta, but that goes off into a real big tangent about what's the difference between the highest achieving athletes in the world, and does the X Factor exist, and what is the X Factor? We don't always agree. Enjoy, like, share, subscribe.
Let's just run the intro and wing it like we always do and see what comes out of it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Front kick.
Just getting broad and dance move chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man?
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on this show, eh?
How's it feel to be back, GB? You missed this? Big time.
A little bit. Actually, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously not enough didn't miss you enough to volunteer or respond to any messages to actually do a show. But, you know, somewhere.
We stopped asking you, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
did you do shows?
Do you know we did some shows?
No, how'd you go? Who'd you have?
We had Daryl Impey. We had
Oh, yeah, he'd be good.
Aaron Gate.
Oh, he'd be good.
Good replacements, actually.
It sounds like you're better off without me.
Yeah, we'll give you one more shot.
How's the ratings?
It's not the same. We're going to show George some love. But no. we got to give George some love, Bewls. We've missed him. It's just not the same.
It's not the same.
Oh,
no,
appreciate it.
It just doesn't bring that dynamic of like somebody who wants to say something real controversial,
and he to lose.
But he feels he has a lot to lose, and in the end, he like. That dynamic of just sort of beating around the bush and not getting to the point. It's missed, you know.
He feels a bit like Avicii, you know, like he's a super talent, but you can't push him too far. I mean, it's a bad example because Avicii was a bad ending, and there's that element of actually.
We don't know how I end. We don't. I mean,
well, yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, don't push the bear. Like, if the bear wants a break, let him go hibernate, and then when he comes out, he's ready to maul people again. Like, he's fine.
I think it was a well-deserved break, to be fair, and I think that the podcast world, we do pretty well to make it pretty low demands in the podcast world. I think people who have far more successful shows and actually have a bit of growth in their show put a bit more effort in. But
you reckon?
How's the What's Occurring boys? I noticed that that like they will finish a stage and then they'll be on pods like on the bus or at the hotel. Imagine a grandie. Imagine that you get in the bus, you've just done a 200k Vuelta stage, and you're like, oh, let's jump on a pod.
Yeah, but I reckon they're bringing in some cash, those boys as well from the pod.
I reckon that's the only thing that would make me do that. You're going to get 10 grand to do that episode. You'd be like, oh, probably miss massage and chuck out a pod.
Yeah, that's right.
It is a good show though, because it is effective if you can do that as a cycling show. There's no doubt about it; it'll be effective. But the reality is, we've all got other jobs, and we enjoy doing this though as a hobby.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've got to give a shout out. I should have done this 3 months ago. I was at the casino with my mate Illy, and he doesn't even know about this podcast. Like, never listened to it, didn't even know I did it. And we're walking past, and this bloke yells out, "Jonesy!" And I'm thinking, who's that? Like, did I used to play footy with this guy? He goes, "Where's Bewls? Where's GB?" And I thought, oh, okay. Yeah, he's a listener. So his name, Will and Lisa, they were celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary, massive listeners. And he said to his missus, he goes, "Told you I should have worn the, like, Great Bloke Shit Rider T-shirt." Like, as if... Oh, yeah, of course we'll see Jonesy at the case. Like, would have been perfect.
Or the guy in the casino probably see Jonesy.
Yeah, that's it. And they were from Tamworth. And then the funniest was, so we were chatting away and, about 5-10 minutes. Anyway, we walk off and my mate Illy goes, "What the fuck was that all about?" So what are you talking about? The Social Distance Podcast. He goes, What are you talking about? Okay, did you not know I do this pod? He goes, "Nah. How long have you been doing that for?" I said, "I don't know, 3 years." He goes, "Who's on it?" And then so I had to spend half an hour having a beer with Illy. So, well, there's this potty. So you're talking about like not putting effort into shows. My good mates I grew up with don't even know about this show. It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
Oh, no, it is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Well, happy wedding anniversary to Will and Lisa from Tamworth.
Will and Lisa, yeah.
Wonder how they got on that day.
hopefully they're still together after the cast.
Yeah. Oh, he looked like he was up a bit. He was definitely up and about.
Yeah, good.
So I'm guessing you guys have covered a lot of what's going on in the cycling world. And for ease's sake, should we start off at the Vuelta?
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to start with, the best thing that's happened so far in the context of, this was Sepp Kuss necking a bottle of Lindau on the podium. And the best thing for me was, do you remember the story during the Tour de France when the head of Jumbo, Richard Plugger, was like, oh yeah, the reason we win the Tour de France is because we shared a hotel with France et Jour and we saw two of them having a beer on the rest day. And, that's why we won the Tour de France and they don't. Yeah, that was the kind of vibe,
I was
like, bro, I know what's going on in France et Jour. They're a very well-functioning team. I'm very well abreast of France et Jour and I'm very well abreast of Lotto Jumbo. And the difference is you can afford Roglic, Wout van Aert, Jumbo Visma. It's not because they had one beer that suddenly made them way better.
But like that front side I was talking about this with someone the other day as well when I saw that footage of Sepp. And I was like, the front side social media team, they missed an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Create a meme or something. All in jest and all in fun. Obviously.
To be fair to Matteo though, on the Champs, they did have a sign it was un petit père there for Plugger or something like this.
Really?
But I just had to laugh, That's why I just like Sepp Kuss, the greatest cyclist of our generation. Just the fact that he got up next basically a litre of champers.
It's because he knew that it was his only drink between Barcelona and Madrid. he saw the media, he saw that social media article as well and thought, fuck, I'm not going to allow it. Won't be able to celebrate this tonight, so I'm just going to make the most out of this 5-litre Magnum bottle of champagne. I'm going to take as much in as I can. What a legend. Is he going to win the Vuelta?
I hope so.
Fuck, me too.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah. So, George, the internal side of things. Would the teammates be generally happy for Sepp Kuss, or was there an element of those guys that are primed to take big scalps in their career? I don't just want to win one Grandy, I want to win 10 throughout my career. Is there an element of
those two blokes will be happy? I think that. They'll be stoked. I mean, you think about how much he's given them. I think also one, if you're Primoz, Sepp's already helped you win 3 Vueltas. 2, if you're Jonas, Sepp just helped you win the Tour. And once you've won the Tour, nothing else matters. The Vueltas, I feel like the Vuelta is just a bit of fun for Jonas in a way. You know what I mean? I think he wouldn't be too stressed about it. I reckon those guys, if the opportunity... The thing is, the problem with this pod is about to come out about an hour after the time trial finishes. And that's going to change everything. But I feel like if Sepp's got a lead at the end of the day, I would like to think that the boys rally around him.
But I think ultimately the reason Sepp's there, the reason Roglic is there, the reason Sepp there is clear because he's the best mountain domestique in the world, and he's been invaluable to the success of both those guys over the last couple of years. So that's why he's there. But he's so good that he puts himself in the position that he's in now, and it brings a whole new dynamic to that team. And the reason Jonas and Roglic are there is because Jumbo Visma have said, well, I don't know if that's officially said, but it seems pretty clear that they want to win all 3 Grand Tours in 1 year, And for Jumbo Visma, and again, I'm just making up inaccurate guesses here, but I don't think they really care who they win it with. No. They don't care if they win it with Roglic. They don't care if they win it with Vingegaard. They don't care if they win it with Sepp Kuss. They just want to win it. And then now they're in a position where Sepp Kuss has had that stage where it was, I didn't see the stage, but all accounts pretty chaos, flipped the script completely, put Sepp Kuss 3 minutes in front of all of his own 2 teammates, but every other GC rider as well. And now all of a sudden, Quickstep especially, who have Remco there obviously, are thinking, fuck, we were worried about Roglic and Vingegaard, but now Sepp's 3 minutes in front of us. Okay, the time trial's going to come up and that gap's going to close from Remco to Sepp, but he's probably still going to have a lead. But even if he doesn't have a lead,
even if he doesn't, imagine if he's exactly that's it.
20 seconds behind. He's still in the game.
What you need to be is after the TT with no more time trial, you need to be 2 minutes in front of Sepp. And do you know what? It just highlights for me how important it is to have a super team when you're riding GC, because it's not necessarily about the guys you've got up the road, like when Sepp was up the road. It's also about the guys you've got playing anchor on the wheel, So like Remco ran out of teammates pretty quickly on Jalambre and had to ride a lot of that climb on the front, or actually got dropped from when they hit him. But like for an element there, he was pulling the two best guys, Primoz and Jonas, in his wheel because he had no option. And then you're like, well, I don't really want to pull these guys because they've got, you just caught between a rock and a hard place. And when you just show up with a super team and then you're like, it's actually been real smart from Jumbo to keep Sepp in it. Like in the Tour and in the other races, they often just say like, I remember the Giro, he had a problem with his bike early on and they just drove straight past him. And, it was never on the cards for him to stay close. It was never even a conversation. But I feel like now they've got like such a stranglehold on it because you can just like fuck everyone over each way. In every situation, if you've got a guy there, you've got them by the balls.
Yeah. And the difference between the Vuelta and the Tour de France is that they need Sepp to play that domestique role because they're going up against teams, namely UAE. They're going up against UAE, who Pogacar's, he's also going to have numbers there when it's a group of 10 or 5 riders, like he's going to have Adam Yates, he's going to have Groschneider there. So Vingegaard needs to have Sepp there as a domestique because he needs somebody there to help control the situation when it's down to 5 or 10 guys. But at the Vuelta, they actually don't need Sepp to play that role because in general, the GC teams that are going up against Jumbo aren't as strong and they don't have that ability. Remco doesn't have the ability to have somebody there in a group of 5. He's probably going to be isolated at that point. Whereas Jumbo still have guys like Kelderman who can be there pretty deep into the final. So Kelderman can actually play that role of Sepp Kuss, and Sepp Kuss can actually play I'm part of a 3-prong attack here. And until I get categorically dropped on a climb or multiple climbs and lose a minute or two, I'm actually a threat to you as well. And I'm part of attacking mindset where I can go up the road and Remco's like, well, fuck, I can't really let Sepp go. Roglic goes, fuck, I can't really let Roglic go. Vingegaard goes, I can't really let Roglic go because he hasn't got the teammates there like UAE would have in the Tour de France. And that's why they can use Sepp in this way now as opposed to having to use Sepp as a domestique. So it puts like, it shows the strength of Jumbo. It shows how fucking good that team is. There's no doubt about it. And it's going to make it... the time trial is so important for Remco now. Like he needs to claw back as much time and try to take time on Sepp, which he could well do. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. And I don't think, going back to my first question, will Sepp win the Vuelta? I don't think he will. I'd love him to, but I don't think he will. I think the winner will still come from Roglic, Vingegaard, or Remco. But Sepp's going to be right up there until the end of the third week. It's no doubt about that.
If Sepp wins the Tour, Bewls, now that you're on the other side of the fence, first of all, how does that affect his contract? And GB, from a rider's perspective, once you've won a Grand Tour, can you then transition and go back and go, oh, well, I'm still like a super domestique? Or do you go, no, bugger it, I won it. Legit.
I reckon most people wouldn't go backwards. Most people would be like, I'm fucking riding for me, boys.
That's it.
You can in that team. And also I think Sepp just doesn't care enough about it. Like he's just like, you know what I mean? He doesn't love it. He doesn't live and breathe the guy to get results.
Surely you'd care enough if your manager's in your ear going, mate, come on, let's go for the juicy cash. And let's go.
I think they compensate.
But I don't think it would change its value, like from a financial point of view. I think that Sepp already has his value, and that team, like every single team in cycling, and everybody who watches cycling knows how important that guy is to their success, whether it's with Jonas or whether it's with Primoz. They know that they need Sepp there to be successful, and so he has his value from that. And whether or not he wins the Vuelta or not, I don't think it would ultimately wouldn't change his value maybe not that much, like potentially with a bonus or something. But
couldn't you then sign for juicy cash for one of the other teams wanting to go, well, we'll get like a GC leader, or they smart enough to go, well, he wouldn't have won it on any other team.
Yeah, but I think like George says, like Sepp's the kind of guy who's like, okay, maybe over the last couple of years he's changing his mindset a bit, and like he sees how good he is, and he sees that he can probably win the Grand Tour or win his own races on his own merit. So there's that juicy cash for other teams that he could go to and be a leader, or he could just take the juicy cash from Jumbo and continue to do what he's doing.
I like how
and then go to the Vuelta in a situation like this, and maybe win a Grand Tour from a situation like this, rather than taking the.
I think he's got more
money.
chance of winning a Grand Tour on Jumbo than, like, for example, if he was on another team right now.
FDJ smashing piss every night.
Well, if he went to another team, to lead a Grand Tour, he would be one of those guys who's up against Jumbo rather than being in the organisation.
That's a problem. If you're not on them, if you're not on Jumbo, you got to race against Jumbo, and that's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And there's, if you look at the GC leaders in that team, it's obviously Jonas and Primoz, and Sepp has never been considered one until he rode himself into the red jersey by 3 minutes at the Vuelta. But there's two standout leaders in that team. There's 3 Grand Tours every year, and the Tour de France is the most important one for every single team. They obviously have the goal this year of wanting to win all 3 in 1 year, which they look on track to do. But like, maybe Primoz goes to the Giro next year, and maybe Jonas goes to Tour, or maybe I don't know what they're going to do. But then,
or maybe one of them leaves the team,
and then
outrageous. On that, there's outrageous numbers. Rumors. How's the rumor cycle been this year?
Yeah, it's been insane.
Well, I felt like Remco coming into the Vuelta, like, he's pissed off. He's in a right roll mood. Like, I've validated, like, the first TT, it was dark and piss and rain, but you complain to the Spanish, man. They're never going to go, hey, shit, we got a problem, we better fix this. They're going to go, mate, shut up.
You see how they arrived. You see how the plane landed. The plane got redirected to the rest day travel, and then they all had to take a bus. They arrive at the hotel at 3 a.m. They're all complaining, and I saw one guy on Twitter talking about, like, mate, 10 years ago with the Schleck boys and the rest of them, they got in at 3 a.m. every night. They were fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
The Vuelta's come a long way, eh? Like,
those days of like going to the Vuelta parties are.
But I heard that, like, Remco had to give his team, like, a real rev up about, this is all bullshit and all that. And it's like, dude, your dad was saying it all. He's your manager. Of course you're bloody fielding offers and that. Just cop it on the chin. Like,
did you watch the Lenton Rouge interview with Remco?
I only saw bits and pieces. I didn't watch the whole thing. Because that's what's kicked it off, hasn't it?
It's a good watch. It's worth watching it. And, like, I won't say it changed my perception of Remco, because I actually don't think I really had a perception of Remco. Like, I think I've always been more of a Remco fan than the other side of it. But I wasn't a fanatic, obviously. I was just like, oh, he's fucking good. That guy's young and he's like, but then I watched this thing and it did switch me across to, like, pretty heavily in the Remco fan group. Like
I feel like he gets crucified in the media because he'll just say something that's on his mind. When actually he's a really good bloke.
He's a
say
great
something
guy,
that's on his mind, and everyone goes, "Oh, well, that's arrogant." What?
But do you know what it is?
Off because he crashed after the finish and said this was bullshit. And then what he meant to say, like, thanks for not putting a run off. Or,
couldn't see anything.
Like,
woo!
Well, they say to him, like,
65K.
And they say to him, like, he references it in this Lenton Rouge interview where he says, like, after the Worlds, I think it was the Worlds in Belgium, they said, I think that was when it happened, that, like, the Wout van Aert and Remco, like, going against each other, fucking media fucking fanfare shit about it. And it all came about because I said, do you think you had the legs to win today? And he said, yes. And then all of a sudden he's arrogant, but, like, he is world champion. He's multiple world champion. So, like, why can't he say that? And, like, and also, like, one thing I really noticed, I really noticed about Remco in this interview, which was, like, pretty cool, was, like, he is actually a massive student of the sport. Like, he already knows he's good. He already knows he can win races, but, like, he's not content with that. He knows he can be better. He knows that things can improve. He knows he can improve himself. He knows that the people around him can improve. He knows that everything can continue to improve. And he just wants to keep doing that. And he wants to keep learning. And he's actually, like, a guy who's just like, I'm fucking blessed with this ability to be able to win bike races since I was 16 years old. But I still haven't got the best out of myself, and I still don't know everything about the sport, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. And like every single day is a new day for me. And it's something that, and every single day I learn something new. And he is actually a guy who's just like, I'm just fucking trying to learn, and like, and people have all these different opinions of me, but like he's like, I'm just trying to continue to grow and develop as a bike rider, and I'm fucking confident in myself. Why shouldn't I be? Yeah. Look how good I am. You know, that's not arrogant to me.
He backs it up.
That's just someone who's like, fucking driven. That's a difference
between you with
Roglic, Vingegaard, and the rest of us. You know, Pogačar.
Well, no, the difference is genetics. That's the difference between the rest of us. Because you can't tell me that those guys are more motivated or dedicated than, say, me. They're just genetically gifted.
Yeah, okay, that makes a big part in it. But they still have like, it's like every single, like the world's greatest sportsman, Michael Jordan. Okay, genetically or like. Gifted,
going there, are we?
You know, Tiger Woods, gifted. Like they're all gifted. But
Tiger Woods mate, he put the
But they all have something fucking different in their minds.
Yes.
You know, they all have something different. And it's not necessarily the drive or the motivation to train and prepare and all that stuff, because every professional athlete has that, or they should have that. Yeah, to lesser degrees with some people. And
I don't agree. I think this is some weird mystique given to greatness that's actually it's a crock of shit. It's an absolute crock of shit that you give this mystique to a guy. Oh, they're wired differently. No, it's not. Come live a week with me. We're all wired differently. Everyone, you're wired differently. It's just that you didn't have the genetics. I don't have the genetics. It's not.
Yeah, but what about?
Hang on.
But the same switch in their head, or the same like thing that they have in their head exists in the business world as well, you know?
Yeah, but you're telling me I don't have that switch. I have that switch. You have that switch.
No, you do have the switch. Because another guy compared to your journey, Bennett, would say, Bennett, what's he got that I don't have, and I'm not even a professional. He's
for sure. There's a club rider in Nelson I grew up with who goes, who's trying to say the same shit as him. He had something different. No, I just had very fortunate genetics that I was good enough to be quite good, and I was dedicated. I don't think you can say that any of the greats have something intangible that we don't have as good professionals.
I think they do because
I reckon they do.
They don't. It's genetics.
Again, like
it's
Michael
genetics.
Jordan, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Like, okay, imagine you're like when Michael Jordan in the finals game when he just got fucking beaten up in the first 3 quarters, couldn't score a point. The whole fucking teams were boom, 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 boom. Only Michael Jordan was able to come out and slot 30 points in the 4th quarter. Tiger Woods, who's leading the Masters.
Genetics.
Leading the Masters, goes bogey on the front 9. Drops 9 shots on the front 9. Only Tiger Woods could claw 11 shots back on that back 9.
Now we're talking about mental sport. Okay, but these sports are different to endurance sports because it doesn't matter how fucked off I am. Okay, someone's crashed you. You're like, right, revenge. I'm going out there today. I'm going to rip everyone's legs off. I'm in the breakaway, yes or yes. Or I'm dropping this bloke, yes or yes. It doesn't matter how angry or how much desire or how much I want it. If I can't, if I reach 14 millimoles of lactate, that's nothing to do with how much I can push myself or how I can. That's just fucking shitty genetics running out of steam.
But okay, then maybe you're a bad example, or you're a bad person to compare to these two guys. Maybe it's to Remco. Maybe it's better to compare Remco or Pogačar or Vingegaard to just those 3. So like genetically and physically, they are all fucking freaks. Okay. Let's use Pogačar and Vingegaard as an example. Genetically and physically, those guys are freaks. And those two are very
max as a bar.
Those two are very, very hard to separate on a physical level. Okay. So what makes the difference between Vingegaard winning the Tour de France and Pogačar not winning the Tour de France? And Pogačar has that as well. So does Vingegaard. But there's something in those people that makes the difference when it matters.
Yeah, but that's that. For example, I'm going to argue my point here again. There's no way that was in Vingegaard because I raced with Vingegaard when he was a good rider, but he was, would get nervous and fall apart here and there. And so he's learned. It's a skill he's learned. But what makes the difference between those two? Well, it could be teammates on the bike. Look at how good Jumbo were. Look at preparation, look at equipment, look at all these so many external factors that are not directly related to some intangible thing, this mystique that you're giving these guys. When I think there's a guy who's racing Continentals who tries as hard, he's got as much mongrel, he's got all this stuff, and he's just got fucking dud genes. He just got the shit. Because I can name a lot of guys that work so hard, and I can name the opposite. I can name guys that don't have it mentally and have got fucking godlike genetics. So I think to give this mystique because they're so good that there's some. I agree with Jordan. It's clear there was this overwhelming will to win at the fact that he was prepared to burn people in the pursuit of victory, burn his mates, burn his teammates, throw people under the bus in the pursuit of victory. But that is so different to what Jonas isn't going out there and having to be an asshole or having to win at all costs and this and that. He's going out there. He's dedicated. He's really professional, but he's surrounded by good people. And he's just, I knew he was good and I knew Sepp was good from early days when they signed on the team. They did some VO2 lab testing and my trainer went, oh, shit, these guys have got it. And Jonesy was asking before, is it the VO2, is that a measure? And it is. It's a big measure. They say it's one of the big measures of talent, but by going by that, I should be a god of cycling because I have a crazy VO2. So there's actually
your genetics
another.
Are good, so you're missing the spark.
No, but there's another measure that's far more important. The measure is far more important is your lactate
tolerance,
like your ability to use lactate as a fuel. So you get more fuel out of it.
And how do you improve that? Or you just
be born, have the right parents.
My lactate's fucked, so I know I'm only going to get to this point in my career progression.
It's trainable to a point, but essentially that's the problem with endurance sports. It's not like skill-based where like Tiger Woods just put in the hours and had a psychopath.
That's
father.
what I mean. I think golf, sports that are mechanical like golf, not endurance. He was putting on greens for 12 hours a day from when he was a little kid, and that was all because of his dad. His dad had that.
You could have done that too. If your dad was a psychopath that wanted to live his life vicariously through you, you could have been Tiger Woods.
He had that thing in his brain that allowed him to be so good. That's what made him.
It got trained into him though.
But
like his dad trained him those techniques he learned in the army to.
Regardless of how he got it, he had it. No,
maybe it's not autism. Maybe it's obsessive compulsive disorder or something where you're allowed. I think it's more OCD. You're allowed to.
Are we kind of clinically diagnosed Tiger Woods now, or
sex addict?
That's all we know.
But drug addict.
He's addicted to golf and he's addicted to women. We know that.
What about?
He won.
Okay,
that's what.
What about? Okay, going back to cycling and me, I don't know the answer. And I can't have a smart conversation about it because I don't know what that thing is in the brain. But I'm
enjoying your insights.
I think it exists. So somebody in cycling who fucking had it, and you can't argue it. Lance Armstrong, he had that.
But you're just saying that because he was prepared to burn his mates. You're saying this intangible quality is win all. This intangible quality, if I'm looking at your examples, Jordan, Lance, whatever, it's the willingness to burn everybody in their life win at all costs in the pursuit of winning. Yeah, at all costs, to win at all costs.
All costs. Yep.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think Primoz has win at all costs because that guy enjoys a beer. That guy's a family man. He's a nice guy. He doesn't dog his teammates. He is not win at all costs, but he fucking wins a lot. Holy shit.
Tadej Pogačar, I don't think it's win at all costs. I think it's I think it's the ability to come back, which is important in cycling, no matter how good you are. The ability to deal with something that doesn't go your way. And remove that from your brain, remove that from ever happening, wake up the next day and succeed.
But what about this? Okay, I'll pose this question to you then. What about something didn't go your way? You didn't get selected for a race. But the next day you wake up and you try just as hard, but you don't win. Or you crash one day, you lose the GC. But the next day you get up and you try just as hard. You go, right, I'm going to put it out of my mind and I'm going to give everything. And you give everything, but your genetics stop you from winning. So you have the same as the guy that had the genetics to win. It's more the other guys this is when it cracks me, right? When people go, oh, this guy's so mentally tough, He got second at the Tour, but he gets up and fights again to the Vuelta. What? That's not mentally tough. The guy that got his head kicked in every single day at the Tour and finished Gruppetto out the arse and he tried his hardest. and he still wants to be a pro cyclist, that's mentally tough.
Yeah, but it's there's no doubt you can't just have this thing in your brain that it will make you a winner. You also have to be in an endurance sport. You have to have the genetics and the physical capabilities, of course. But like Pogacar again is another example. Cracked, lost the Tour de France, lost minutes and minutes. On Col de Loise, we saw that. But he has in his brain to go, but fucking tomorrow, I'm going to put the whole fucking team on the front and I'm going to fucking smash the shit out of this race and I'm going to win the stage.
Yeah, but that's just mongrel. That's just having
maybe
a bit of mongrel.
Maybe it's mongrel then. Because like a lot of people
for example, I could have lost
a lot
8
of people
minutes
in that
on
situation, like a lot of people in that situation, and it's happened in Tour de France's in the past, where somebody has cracked sitting within a minute of the GC, cracked, lost 3 or 4 minutes, slipped back. Then the next day they lose 3 or 4 minutes again, and then they lose 3 or 4 minutes. That's
softcocks. If they
because they haven't got the thing.
No, they don't have they don't have the genetics or the people around them to eat enough, and they just put themselves in a hole.
There's a new show coming. Are you a mongrel or a softcock? Yeah, make the choice.
I think a half mongrel's half mongrel.
Maybe we should rename the show to Mongrels and Softcocks, and we'll get guests on every week, and we'll just ask them, "Are you a mongrel or softcock?"
Instead of legend or belly, we've got a new segment.
Full mongrel,
mongrel or softcock. Love it.
Well, anyway, comment below if you think that these top world-class athletes have this.
If this is a debate, the Worm would have had Bewley well in front for me. And then slowly the Worms come back, and now I'm sort of siding with George for cycling. Doesn't apply to we've identified.
I don't get me wrong. Biomechanic sports completely different.
I think it applies in biomechanical skill-based sports. I think it applies in physical endurance sports. I think it applies in the business world. I think it applies with judges and lawyers. I think it applies with doctors. I think it applies with in every single facet of the world. I think it applies in every single facet of the world. But
think about this, right?
And the combination to be successful in all those different worlds are slightly different. So you need to have a good wrist hinge in golf or whatever, and you need to have the thing in your brain. You need to be able to fucking shoot a 3-pointer, and you need to have that thing in your brain. You need to have genetics and a high VO2 max and that thing in your brain. You need to be able to say.
You need to be able to
walk into an office to the nicest person you've ever fucking met and say, "You're not doing your job. You're fired." You need to have You need to have the combination is different, but high succeeding people all have it.
What about if we got shirts where they were reversible? So you could have mongrel on one, and then you flip it inside out, and it says softcock, depend on any scenario.
Depending on your mood. All right. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think just to wrap this up then, the two things on this. What the quality you're describing literally just sounds like, do you have an asshole in you? And everyone's got an asshole in them.
A little bit of it.
Secondly, to make this point that I think that if you're Tiger Woods, you have a shocking opening round and you're angry, like, I'm going to get up and show these guys, I'm angry. That doesn't help you fucking shoot a bloody 60 round in golf, does it?
Yeah, but I never said angry. I said it's something. That's what I'm just going to call it something. I don't know exactly what it is.
Don't you?
But you're
the kind of person that believes in ghosts.
No, it's not tangible. It's no measurement on it. It's not something that we can measure or whatever. It's just that's why it's been called the special thing.
X factor. They call it the X factor because it's no real name.
Because nobody knows what it is. But Tiger Woods is one of the few golfers, maybe the only golfer who, like you say, could have that shit round and then go back the next day and shoot 66. Every other golfer would have shot fucking 88 for the rest of the tournament.
I would say that anyone that can't recover from that isn't worth their salt.
Random story. I remember going to the President's Cup in 2010, and all the big names were there. I think it might have been 2009. Tiger Woods was there, and Adam Scott was on the practice screen. We're there at the start, and everyone's real quiet, even at the practice screen. This bloke got a phone call from his missus. He goes, "Hey, love, I'm just at the practice screen watching Adam Scott working on his 3 putts." And I just remember, as he said it, Scott putted and gave him the biggest fucking death stare, and it lipped out. It was like perfect timing. Yeah,
but that maybe that's part of it as well, is your ability to manipulate or to play mental games with your competitors. And I would say that Pogacar is very, very good at that. And I'm not a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but the way he portrays himself in the media is not. That's who he is. Okay, he's a lovable.
Oh, you mean
character.
like fun-loving? I'm just here having fun. You guys are trying too hard.
He's not stupid. He's not stupid. And he knows how to to like he jumped
like
in
Chavez.
He jumps in a swimming pool in the rest day, he's jumped in a swimming pool and the world kicks off like, oh, he's trying to win Tour de France, he jumped in a swimming pool. Well, for starters, he jumped in a fucking swimming pool. Give him a rest. Give him a break. It's 40 degrees outside. What's wrong with jumping in a swimming pool? Yeah. But that's his personality. He likes to have fun. But at the same time, when that media storm blew up, I bet you he's just going,
yeah,
fuckers. Like he's not stupid. And he's authentic. But being authentic is a way of playing a little game, I think, mentally with his competitors.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Pogacar, we'll get him on the show next week and he'll tell us if that's true or not.
Yeah, full mongrel or half mongrel.
We've got him on the line now. Poggy, what do you think of the chat?
Mongrel.
What do he say? Mongrel. Yeah, no, mongrel. Definitely, I'm a mongrel. He'd play the game.
Mongrel.
Like, Chavez. Sorry, Jonesy.
He's a classic.
Again, smiling assassin, Yeah. And in the end, it's not the fucking people, It's like, oh, fuck up.
Telling you to smile more and
got under people's skin because of it.
Telling you how good it is. It's just cycling relax as he's got, he's holding onto your handlebars. He's pretty much riding your bike, like in the finals.
Relax. That one of the greatest things I ever saw was at a Vuelta and Bewls was there. And that was that day that Chavez went from 4th to 3rd on the podium and had to pull back 1:20 on Contador. And there was that team meeting where it was like, fuck, what do we do? Remember Bewls? Like, do we risk it and play it safe? Because if you blow, you're going to blow you're going to lose 4th. You might lose out of the top 10. And remember Chavez got up and goes, guys, fuck it. We didn't come here to like play it safe. We're going all in, boys. Who's with me? And then I remember you stood up and you fucking put your fist in the air. You go, fuck yeah, we're fucking all in. It was like any given Sunday.
Mighty Ducks moment.
It was a Mighty Duck moment, but the way that stage panned out, where you guys had done recon, you knew the stage back to front, and then you had Housen up the road. Oh, mate, that's as good as it gets.
But maybe going back to it a little bit, like Tiger Woods is again as an example, maybe Michael Jordan as well. Like all these guys who have that X factor, let's call it. Maybe that because they have it, it's actually like they all have their vices as well.
Oh yeah,
and they all have like quite heavy vices. Where Tiger Woods was obviously a woman, Michael Jordan was obviously gambling.
I think Tiger Woods was Vicodin.
Tiger Woods was a woman.
No. But Tiger Woods had about when he got done for drink driving, they found like 12 drugs in the system.
Yeah. Just those human vices, and Michael
what do you
Jordan.
Mean? So I'm gonna put one to here
like a mad dog.
But like let's say you as a rider. You're telling me you didn't have. Were you a mongrel?
I had the vices, but I didn't have the X factor.
That's the problem. You should have
a soft cock with vices.
I had shit genetics, no X factor, and a whole lot of vices.
Way too many vices.
And I was a steadily average pro.
Yeah, but you're a good bloke.
Yeah,
that counts.
Yeah,
I think you just need a general mix. I think at the end of the day, you just need to look at life as like, are you having fun? You happy?
You sound like Chavez.
You get to travel the world. Such is the life.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
You need a cocktail of it all. Let's make a cocktail shirt as well with like
a
big X in it. Can we claim the X?
Yeah.
Can we claim the X off Elon Musk or not?
I don't know. Hey, before we wrap things up, I just want to say another shout out to the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett. He turned 80, almost a month ago, so we're a bit late.
Wow. I grew up with him, eh? That was I honestly believe he's one of the factors that I got into road cycling. Because I just remember before school, when I was a mountain biker, I remember going before school and then the Tour de France would be on TV, the 6 to 8 a.m. replay from the stage highlights, and Phil Liggett commentating with Paul Sherwin.
I did the NBC thing with him this year. Well, obviously, I was in the studio, but he was the commentator. He's a commentator at NBC, him and Bob Roll. And same, like I grew up with Phil Liggett and, on my TV watching the Tour de France, and it was really cool to work with him. And he was in France and I was in America, so I didn't see him face to face, but like we had each other we could talk to each other like through our like fucking technology. And like it was the first time like I really like intently listened to him commentate because I had to pick up things he was saying, and then because we would go on air and then they'd be like, what do you think about what Phil said, Sam? So you had to be listening quite hard, not just like casually in the lounge room. And I got to say, the thing I noticed the most about Phil is his humor, man. He is fucking,
he's dry,
he is so funny. He's got the
yeah.
driest sense of humor, and it's fucking awesome.
He can't pick a rider to save himself. He can't, like, he's like, I think that might be Cipollini. No, he retired 10 years ago. But, it doesn't matter. You just don't care because he's a wordsmith.
Exactly. His job is like, a big part of his job is to be a wordsmith and to keep people entertained and listen to it and laughing.
Didn't you have one day, Bewls, where they threw to you because Phil's commentary went down?
Yeah. That was the scariest moment of my life. It was like, because we're not there to commentate. We're just there doing like special comments and then doing the pre and post race studio show. But then all of a sudden we're in their ears. They're like, Sam and Brent, you need to commentate. You need to commentate. We've lost comms. I was like, fuck, I don't know how to commentate. And like, this gave me a real appreciation of how hard commentating is. And like standing in the studio, you're nervous anyway, but at least you're talking about a subject you're supposed to be well versed with. But commentating is a different story. And then we got thrown onto the bloody mics and we're having to commentate. And it was when that motorbike stopped Pogacar from attacking at the top where those time bonuses were, when who won the stage that day? Rodriguez won the stage. Yeah. And when Pogacar attacked to go for those bonus sprints and the motorbike got in the way, that happened while we were commentating. And I was almost like, look at the fucking motorbike. Fuck. I was like, I can't swim. I'm like, oh, what's happening here? Motorbike's in the way. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Do you think going forward for us, there's a scope for like to run, how people run like alternative commentary? You press a different button and they can check.
Absolutely.
And I reckon it'll be quite good just to pick a few stages. I mean, fucking shoot me. I'm not doing a sprint stage,
heading water for 180K. You know what stage would be really good to do it for? Would be
the Champs and just analyze anybody.
The last stage.
Here's old mate here to shit tour. He's probably out of job next year.
Exactly.
He doesn't have the mongrel. He's another soft cock.
You don't have to talk about what's happening in the stage. You can just talk about the Tour de France, and you can just talk you could actually do that alternatively very well, I reckon.
Yeah.
Well, just on Phil, I remember 5 years ago, Jerry threw a party for Phil's 75th here in Melbourne because we're actually going to catch up with Phil. He's going to be in Australia, and we're going to see him on Sunday night.
Because he does the tap, doesn't he? He comes down and
he's doing Amy Gillett's. They've got a function on.
Oh, yeah.
But just before we wrap things up, I remember Jerry said, we're doing a roast for Phil Liggett, and if you want to say a few words, and I thought, oh, mate, roast. I'll lay the boots in, fucking oath. Like, give it to me. And I was the first speaker. So I got up and just laid into Phil about how he's a tight ass, and the jokes went flat. All I could hear was like cutlery on plates, and Phil gave me these looks of like, I thought we were mates. Like, that's not even funny. And I was like going bright red, but I thought, I've committed. I've got to keep going. Mate. It just got progressively worse and worse. So then I thought, oh, well, fuck. I'm the icebreaker. Every other speaker after that will lay the boots in like a roast, and it'll just, once they get the booze in, they'll be fine. No, every other speaker was complimentary, saying how, he's the icon, he's voice of cycling, and all the nice things he's done. And I get to the end, I said to Jerry, I go, Jerry, you threw me under the fucking bus. Like, this is a roast. He goes, what'd you have for dinner, Dan? A roast. Oh, roast lamb. It wasn't a fucking roast. He said, we're putting on a roast for Phil, like roast lamb. I thought it was like, let's lay the boots in. I just said to Phil afterwards, I said, mate, I'm fucking so sorry. I thought it was a roast. Just said how he's tight as a fish's ass, and, he never shouts a beer, and he never used to call home because, couldn't call his missus because of fucking phone bills. Oh, mate, it was bad. So, anyway, if Jerry says we're doing a roast for Phil for his 80th, I'll say, mate, I'm not fucking talking.
Bring gravy. If he says that, bring gravy.
What'd you have for dinner, Dan? Roast lamb. Oh, shit. Sorry, Phil. Anyway. Bloody good to have you back, GB.
Yeah. I got to go. I got a meeting in 3 minutes.
All right. Sweet. Like, share, subscribe.
Good chat. Comment below. Let us know if you think that they have the X Factor, or whose side are you on? George's or Jonesy's?
Give us your top 5 mongrels and your top 5 soft cocks.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we'll get those t-shirts done, up for sale. But you can still buy. There's a couple of merch hats left. There's still a couple of t-shirts left. So jump on buy some merch, guys. We'll put it in the link below.
See you soon.
See ya.